If you don't have one, you want one. If you have one, you want to get rid of it. Jake Ryan dropped that wisdom about popularity in 16 Candles, and somehow, one line from a teen movie in 1984 captured every high schooler's entire existence. This wasn't just another coming-of-age comedy. This was the movie that turned Molly Ringwald into the voice of a generation, made Michael Schaffling every girl's dream, and proved John Hughes understood teenage misery better than actual teenagers. It's the film where an entire family forgets a birthday, a geek trades underwear like cryptocurrency, and a red Porsche became the ultimate romantic gesture. Today, we're diving into 15 weird facts about the movie that launched Hughes's directorial career and made us all believe our families were just as dysfunctional as the Bakers. Now, before we jump in, be sure to like and subscribe because it really does help this channel. Number 15. John Hughes wrote the entire script over one 4th of July weekend to save his career. Most screenwriters take months to craft a feature film. John Hughes wrote 16 Candles in less than a week during the 1983 4th of July weekend. Hughes had already written The Breakfast Club and a studio had optioned it, but when that production went into limbo, he got nervous. He worried The Breakfast Club, a sparse chamber piece about 5 kids in detention, wouldn't have commercial appeal for teenage audiences. So over the holiday weekend, he isolated himself and cranked out an action-based teen comedy. The script became 16 Candles, virtually unchanged from first draft to screen. Universal read it and immediately decided it was more commercially viable than The Breakfast Club, so they greenlit it as Hughes's directorial debut. Here's the ironic twist. Hughes wrote 16 Candles as a backup plan because he was afraid The Breakfast Club wouldn't work. Both movies became iconic. The safety net script he wrote in a weekend launched him as the king of teen movies. Hughes was known for writing while chain-smoking and drinking massive amounts of coffee. The man wrote one of the most beloved teen comedies of all time in a caffeine-fueled holiday sprint. Sometimes your panic project becomes your masterpiece. Number 14. Molly Ringwald and John Hughes shared the exact same birthday, 18 years apart. Molly Ringwald was born on February 18, 1968. John Hughes was born on February 18, 1950. According to Ringwald in a 2016 People interview, Hughes found her headshot while looking through photos of young actors and decided to write a movie around the character he imagined that girl to be. That movie became 16 Candles. When filming started, Ringwald was 15, having just finished 9th grade, and Hughes was 33, exactly 18 years older to the day. Ringwald later said Hughes was very present on set and really related to the young cast. The shared birthday became a running connection throughout their collaborations on 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink. In 2022, Ringwald shared on Instagram that her own mother forgot her birthday, captioning it "Life imitates art," and reflected on the birthday she shared with Hughes, who passed away in 2009. Decades later, Ringwald still marks February 18th by thinking about the director, who built an entire movie around a forgotten birthday. Number 13. The movie got an R rating, and Hughes had to fight to get it down to PG. When 16 Candles was submitted to the MPAA in early 1984, it came back with an R rating. For a movie specifically made for teenage audiences, that was a disaster. Hughes successfully lobbied and appealed the rating, and on February 16, 1984, the film won its appeal and was released with a PG rating. Here's the wild part. The PG-13 rating didn't exist yet. It wasn't introduced until a few months after 16 Candles hit theaters. The ratings board had only 2 choices, PG or R, with no middle ground. The MPAA apparently believed something so obviously aimed at teens deserved to be accessible to teens, even if it pushed every boundary of what PG meant. If you watch 16 Candles today, by modern standards, there's no way it would get PG. It would be a definite PG-13. Hughes got away with content that would never fly under PG ratings now, and he did it right before the rules changed forever. The movie that barely escaped an R rating slipped through a loophole that closed right after it. Talk about perfect timing. Number 12. Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald went from hating each other to dating. When Ringwald and Hall first met on set, they did not get along. Hughes panicked because his entire movie depended on their chemistry, so he took them to a music store where they discovered they both loved the same music. Problem solved. Except not really. According to Hall in a 2020 interview, even after they became friends, he developed a massive crush on Ringwald during filming, and she wasn't interested. Hall admitted Ringwald didn't have the time of day for him when they made 16 Candles. So the entire movie, Hall played a geek desperately chasing a girl who didn't notice him, which required zero acting because that's exactly what was happening off camera. Then, after filming The Breakfast Club a year later, something shifted. Hall and Ringwald started dating. Hall called it puppy love, saying it kind of hit him by surprise. The progression went from mutual hatred to forced record store bonding, to friendship, to unrequited crush, to actual romance. The geek got the girl eventually. He just had to survive hatred, rejection, and an entire film franchise first. Number 11. The gym where they filmed the school dance had no air conditioning. The school dance scene was shot at Niles East High School in Skokie, Illinois, and the gym didn't have air conditioning. The production couldn't afford to bring in cooling equipment, so everyone filming in July 1983 just roasted. Temperatures inside the gym exceeded 100 degrees during shooting. Haviland Morris, who played Caroline, had to change her dress between takes because she was sweating through it. The extras were visibly wilting. The crew was miserable. Samantha's bedroom set was also built inside that same gymnasium, so those scenes were equally scorching. The ironic part is that if you watch the dance scene, everyone looks appropriately uncomfortable and awkward, which is exactly what high school dances feel like. The cast didn't have to pretend to be uncomfortable teenagers at a school dance. They were genuinely uncomfortable people trapped in a building that felt like a convection oven. Sometimes brutal filming conditions create the most authentic performances. Number 10. Michael Scheffling beat out Viggo Mortensen for the role of Jake Ryan. When Scheffling walked into auditions, he was a 23-year-old model who had never been in a feature film. According to Ringwald in an Access Hollywood interview, Viggo Mortensen also auditioned, the same man who would later become famous for Lord of the Rings. Ringwald admitted Mortensen made her weak in the knees, and she wanted him to get the part. But Hughes cast Scheffling instead, choosing him for his looks and a natural awkwardness that read as authenticity. Here's the twist. Viggo Mortensen went on to have a legendary film career, earning Oscar nominations and international acclaim. Meanwhile, Scheffling made about a dozen movies over 7 years, then quit acting entirely in 1991 to become a furniture maker in Pennsylvania. He has turned down every interview request and reunion opportunity for more than 30 years. The guy who beat out Viggo Mortensen for the most iconic teen heartthrob role of the 80s walked away from Hollywood and never looked back. Sometimes the person who seems like the wrong choice becomes the right choice. Number 9. Haviland Morris wore a wig for the hair-cutting scene. There's a widely believed piece of trivia that Morris, who played Caroline, is a natural redhead and had to wear a blonde wig because Hughes only wanted one redhead in the movie. That's completely false. According to Morris herself, her hair was naturally the color it appears at the beginning of the film. She wore a wig later in the movie specifically so they could cut it when Caroline gets her hair stuck in the door, and the wig matched her real hair color. Morris said in the beginning of the movie, that's all her real hair, and the wig only came in right before the cutting scene. The entire redhead controversy is a myth that somehow became accepted fact. The wig was purely practical, so they could destroy her hair without actually destroying her hair. Sometimes the myths are more entertaining than the truth, and sometimes the truth is just about protecting an actress from a bad haircut. Number 8. Joan and John Cusack were originally cast in major roles in The Breakfast Club. According to Mental Floss, John Cusack was initially cast as Bender in The Breakfast Club, the role that eventually went to Judd Nelson, and Joan Cusack was set to play Allison, the role Ollie Sheedy made famous. But Universal thought 16 Candles was more commercial and should be made first. The Breakfast Club got pushed, and the Cusacks got reassigned to much smaller parts in 16 Candles. John played Bryce, one of Farmer Ted's sidekick geeks, and Joan played Geek Girl Number 1, the girl in the neck brace. They barely have any lines. And here's the Hollywood irony. John Cusack went on to become a massive star through Say Anything, High Fidelity, and Being John Malkovich. Joan earned Oscar nominations and became one of the most reliable character actresses in Hollywood. They didn't need the big Breakfast Club roles. Everyone landed where they were supposed to land. Sometimes losing the big role is the best thing that can happen. Number 7. Molly Ringwald stole the dress she wore to the school dance and wardrobe had to find a replacement. The pink dress Samantha Baker wears to the school dance became one of the iconic looks of the movie, but it wasn't originally meant for Ringwald at all. It was supposed to be worn by Leanne Curtis, who played Samantha's friend Randy. Ringwald saw the dress, loved it, and asked if she could wear it instead. Because Ringwald was Hughes's muse and basically got whatever she wanted on set, Hughes said yes, and the wardrobe department had to scramble to find a new outfit for Randy. Ringwald didn't just steal one costume piece either. She picked out all of Samantha's clothes herself, going to stores on Melrose Avenue with a costume designer and choosing outfits based on her own personal style, heavily influenced by ska music. Hughes gave a 15-year-old complete control over her character's wardrobe, and she used that power to commandeer dresses meant for other actors. The result was a character who felt authentic because she was literally wearing what a real teenage girl wanted to wear. Number 6. John Hughes created the role of Farmer Ted specifically for Anthony Michael Hall. Hughes was so impressed by Hall's performance as Rusty Griswold in National Lampoon's Vacation that he created the geek role with Hall in mind before the actor even auditioned. Hall was only 14 when he played Rusty, and Hughes saw something in his timing and awkward energy that he knew would be perfect for a lovable loser. He built Farmer Ted around Hall's specific strengths: the nervous energy, the motor-mouth delivery, the ability to be simultaneously annoying and endearing. Hall became so associated with the geek archetype that Hughes cast him as essentially the teen version of himself across 4 films: Vacation, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. The role that launched Hall's career was literally designed around him before he even knew it existed. Hall later spent years trying to break away from that typecasting, eventually building muscle and taking tough guy roles. Sometimes being someone's muse means being trapped in the box they created, even when that box made you famous. Number 5. The final birthday cake was made of cardboard. In the iconic final scene where Jake Ryan presents Samantha with a birthday cake and 16 lit candles, that cake isn't real. The prop department built it out of cardboard because a real cake would have melted and sagged under hot lights across multiple takes. The candles were real, but the cake itself was completely inedible. That cardboard cake became one of the most iconic images from the film, representing the perfect birthday Samantha never got and the romantic gesture from the dream guy. The symbol of the perfect birthday moment was a prop nobody could eat, and nobody cared. The scene works because Ringwald and Schoeffling sold the emotion. You can manufacture a perfect moment with cardboard and acting as long as the feelings are real. Number 4, 3, and 2 reinforce what we already know. Hughes turned enemies into collaborators, Schoeffling walked away from fame to build furniture, and has never looked back, and a 15-year-old actress overruled a professional costume designer on a tilted hat that went on to define mid-80s teen fashion nationwide. The instinct of a teenager beat years of industry experience, and the hat the designer said would date the film became timeless. Number 1. Molly Ringwald was actually 15 years old, playing a 16-year-old. Hollywood loves casting adults to play teenagers, but 16 Candles went the other direction. Ringwald was genuinely 15 when she played newly 16-year-old Samantha Baker, filmed in the Chicago suburbs right after she completed 9th grade. The awkwardness in her performance isn't acting. It's real teenage awkwardness. The insecurity, the confusion, the way she moves and talks. That's a 15-year-old being 15. Hughes didn't want polish. He wanted authenticity. The irony is that Michael Schoeffling, who played Jake Ryan, was 23 during filming, making the movie's central romance between a 15-year-old girl and a 23-year-old man pretending to be an 18-year-old high school senior. That age gap would raise eyebrows today, but in 1984, nobody blinked. Sometimes the magic of movies requires ignoring the uncomfortable reality behind the camera, and sometimes the most authentic performance comes from casting someone who is actually living what they are portraying. And there you have it. 15 weird facts about the movie that turned forgotten birthdays into a cultural moment and proved John Hughes understood teenage misery better than anyone. From weekend writing sprints to record store bonding sessions, from cardboard cakes to furniture making heartthrobs, 16 Candles was chaos from start to finish. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic trips through the movies that define the 80s. Thanks for watching, and until next time.